Hey guys, welcome to the Team Fit Live call for Monday, May the 18th. Thank you everyone that is on here live. Those of you that will listen later, that is awesome. Thank you so much. I know that Mondays are hard. I know that times are hard for calls, but I will say this every single time. You will not reach your goals unless you're getting extremely uncomfortable and sacrificing something every day. So for everyone that isn't, on the call that you wish maybe would be here, forward this call to them and just say, hey, just really, would love it if you could be on these calls or at least listen to them later. They're going to help you, give you great, business basics. And every week will be different. We'll have different people on. I'll speak out of the overflow of what I'm learning. And by the way, maybe everyone's mad about the Angry Elf 5-minute power call. Randy, do you think that's what it is? Real quickly, I'm doing 5-minute power calls on our team page just because I know that some people just cannot be on the Monday call, or they're listening to their coach's call, or they're running their own call. So I've been doing a 5-minute power call, and it's all out of what I'm learning in my personal development. Right now I'm reading Do-Over by Jon Acuff. Oh, it's so funny. Like, I die. I cannot read this fast because I have to write it down. I have to go in my phone and add, notes and then put my own little spin on it. It is just awesome. So I'll be posting that tomorrow. But that's a way that you can share just a little bit of a, kick in the pants or shot in the arm, whatever you want, of some encouragement and truth until you do have time to listen to these calls. I promise I'm going to try to make them shorter. But the important thing to know is that each week and each day if possible, if you're listening to something, you will continue to grow. And it's just imperative that you make yourself do that, as simple or as easy or as not easy as it is. All right. So without further ado, let me real quickly mute everyone. And we're going to go ahead and get started. So, again, welcome to the team call. Today we're going to talk a little bit about crucial elements for your business. Now, that sounds like kind of like, upper-level stuff, or you're like, what does that mean, crucial elements? It's the best way I could describe what I wanted to talk about today, because what I'm talking to you about is simply truths that have come out of reading the book I'm reading right now called Do-Over. Also, some of my other personal development that I listen to. I love Michael Hyatt. He's kind of like my new business dude. It's a free podcast. Gosh, he's so awesome. Of course, listen to Chalene. I listen to Lewis Howes. And I listen online. In our back office, we have the Success tab. If you go to the Success tab, and I always do it on my phone, and you look at audios, they have audios and audios and audios and audios from amazing, amazing people. And it's an audio that's just short enough for your drive to work, or like as you're in the carpool line, or whatever it is that you're doing. But keeping all this information coming into our head, you soon start to absorb it. And hanging out with people like that are on this call, if you can find a way to hang out with them, and even if that's online, you're going to start thinking differently, making different choices, and it's key. And without going too much into all that stuff, I'll put it this way. One time Michelle Myers and I were talking, and she called me, and she was like, I did the biggest team call I ever done in my life, and only 11 people showed up. And I'm like, you cannot be mad at that. You have to do what you have to do, and you can't control anyone else. And she texts me back. You're right. She goes, I did the call, or that call was for the people who listened, not for the people who didn't. So I want to give you that. Not only if you're running your own team calls or you're struggling with that right now, hello, we have maybe 10 people on this call right now, and we have an organization of over 40,000. It's their choices, and of course many of those are have their own teams now, but at the same time, I don't want that to be a discouragement to you, but it's just like when you make a post on social media or you ask a question. I mean, you can't put it out there for the people who aren't going to see it. You need to know that the people that are hearing this or being on your calls or watching your posts, those are the people that are supposed to. And you just, have to have enough faith that there's a bigger purpose in it all and not allow it to be an ego trip to where you're offended, because I've already been down that road many times. I'm like, why? I honestly know what I'm talking about, but then that means I'm doing this call for myself. Do you know what I mean? And I'm not. I'm doing it for anyone that this can help. So take the you out of it and the ego out and just think, how can I help other people? And if it's only one, then it's one. Or if it's 500, then it's 500. But that will help ease your burden Just get it out there. I promise the right ears will hear it. So as far as crucial elements for your business, there's some very simple truths. Please get a pen and paper. This is not going to be a long call, but it's going to be packed. So number one, having the business you want requires for you to be the person that you need to be. I'm going to say that again. Having the business you want requires you to be the person that you need to be. The simple truth of your business is that if you keep thinking the way you've always thought, then you will get the results that you've always received. So y'all know you're like, duh, Mindy, whatever. I've heard this 1,000 times. Okay, you may have heard it, but has it sunk in? Are you still doing the things you've always done at the same time in the same way and still getting the same result? That's the definition of insanity. To have the business you want requires you to be the person you need to be, which means it's probably not who you are right now. The business that I want, I don't have it yet, and it's because I don't think I'm the person I need to be yet. I haven't quite figured it out yet, but I'm on my way because I'm not stopping, and I'm doing something every day to get uncomfortable, something every day to learn. So I want you to think about you, not your coach or your coaches below you. Think about you right now, today. Wherever you are at this moment, I want you to do me a favor. I want you, if you can, to sit up. I want you to take your shoulders and put them back and press them down behind you. So if you're a kinesiology person, you're going to retract and depress those shoulder blades. You're going to engage your abdominals. You're going to take a big mama-sized breath in through your nose. Hold it just a second, and I want you to slowly let it seep out. You can be through your mouth, through your nose, but go slow. And if someone just looked at you weird, don't even worry about them. Do it one more time. Inhale, deep breath in. Now slowly exhale. Having the business you want requires for you to be the person you need to be, which means you got to change. And it doesn't mean the person you are now is bad or wrong. It's that you have a bigger purpose. And the purpose isn't, hi, I'm perfect, I'm comfortable right now, why am I not happy? Comfort doesn't come from that. Joy and happiness don't come from being comfortable. Honestly, joy and happiness come from growth. And the only way you get growth is when you become uncomfortable. In this business, you have to realize you have a contract with one person and one person only. And I only need you to hear this, but I need you to think about this when you think about your upline coach, and I want you to think about this when you think about your downline coaches, even if you don't have any. One of those fits you. In this business, you've made a contract with one person only, and that's you. So if this business isn't working the way you want, you've got to realize you're dropping your end of the contract. And it doesn't mean what you're doing is bad. It's just not what you need to do right now. And with all of the things that we have, you just got to figure out, okay, to try something different, which means you're probably going to get frustrated and you're going to get uncomfortable, and that's called coaching. So we've got to figure out how to do things different, and we've got to realize that it's no one else's fault. And now that I know everybody that's on this call, I'm pretty sure that none of you have ever bashed your upline coach about all the stuff they didn't do for you. And if you have, let me just tell you the truth. Or maybe you haven't, but you will get it someday from your coaches. Let me tell you a really huge truth. As a coach, your job is to help and point. Your job is to help them learn to tie their shoe, and then they need to tie their shoe by themselves. It is not your fault if their business isn't working. It is not your fault if their business isn't moving the way they want. The only area of that's your fault is your business or what you should have done, but you didn't do. So let that sink in for just a minute, and I want to give you some encouragement. You guys know I'm a Christian, and if that's not what you believe, I'm not pressing anything on you. I just want to tell you some truth. God can leverage purpose out of any and every situation, a sucky situation, a sad, horrible struggle, an amazing, fantastic situation. He can leverage purpose out of it, not only for your good and to grow your business, but for his glory. But none of that's going to be done sitting in your easy chair with a blanket with your house shoes on going, oh, I'm so comfy. It's going to be uncomfortable. You're going to have to do things you don't want. As a matter of fact, an entrepreneur's comfort zone, a business owner's comfort zone is being uncomfortable. Really, if I'm comfortable for too long, I'm going to be honest with you girls, I feel fat, I feel lazy, and I feel dumb. If I get comfortable, on Sunday we kind of chilled. It was my son's birthday. We're going to go to church, but it was flooding over by where we kind of go to church now. We're just oh, well, So we did a little Bible study together. It was really fun. And then they all did their own things. I ended up actually working for about 2 hours, but then I watched 2 movies, not one, but 2. It was fantastic. But about 7 o'clock, and I'm like, I got to go walk. I got to go do something. And it's only because I just was so comfortable. It's like it felt wrong. And I don't think what I was doing was wrong, and I'm not bashing myself for chilling, but I'm really comfortable, like being uncomfortable. I'm really comfortable, like having to think about something new. And I think when you start getting there, you start realize this is part of my purpose, and this is what I'm supposed to do. So it means I've got to do things differently over and over and over again if I want to grow. So I want you to write this down, and I'm sure you already have a pen and paper because you're really smart, and I know all the names of the people that are on this call for the most part. But I want you right now to think about yourself and your business. What are 5 areas that if you just knew how to do a little bit better, or you were just a little faster at so it'd save you time, or you could find someone to help you learn or master it, would make a huge difference in your life and in your business? What are 5 things, I want you to write them down, that if you could be a little bit better at or know a little bit more on, that you could actually spend less time doing, which would make you a little bit more efficient, which would probably decrease your frustration level, and that would just get you kind of over that hump that you feel every day when you go back to that subject or when you have to go through those motions. I want you to write 5 things down. I want you to write 5 things down for you, not 5 things down you've heard your coaches say, or 5 things down that you know that your upline has said or your friend. Think about something you're like, God, this is something that trips me up every day, and I'm like, if I could just work it better. It could be anything from if I could only figure out how to do photo editing better. And when I say photo editing, don't think it's some on Photoshop on your computer. I'm talking about making the lighting right, making your skin look smooth, making it flip-flop, from left to right but right to left, how you write on a photo. I mean, like, that's an example. If it is, if I could only figure out these Facebook ads thing, if I could only figure out Instagram, if I could only know how to grow my following, if I could only figure out how to communicate better online with, like, typing, if I could only get people to respond to me better, how could it? Write 5 down for you. Now, you may have already written 5, but that is your assignment before you go to bed tonight, is to write those 5 down. For you, nobody else, not what anyone else has said, but like let's be honest. Like, I could write a list of 50 things that I'm frustrated with right now. And it's not that I'm necessarily doing anything wrong. It's just I've hit that next step where I have to climb over it, and I don't know how. Like, I don't have the skills. So I either need to get help, or with those 5 things, this is what you're going to do. You're going to go on YouTube and you're going to put in how to work Instagram. You're going to type in best photo apps for a Galaxy, whatever it is. Best photo apps for best video apps for the iPhone, which, by the way, is iMovie, just FYI, and it comes with every iPhone. But still, what best times to post on Facebook. Like, let's get nitty gritty here. Best times to post on Instagram. Most liked Instagram posts. Most commented Facebook photo. Like, seriously, get nitty gritty. Like, what is it? What are the things that you're getting tripped up about that you know someone else has to know? So you need to Google it. You need to YouTube it. You need to find someone first within the Team Fit Life family that you think does this really well, and you're going to stalk them, and then you're eventually going to say, you do photo editing so well. I'm amazed. I love all of your photos. Is there any just real simple tip that you could give someone lowly like me, and you're fabulous and wonderful and pretty and skinny? Like, seriously, just compliment the heck out of somebody. Don't just go, hey, I need to pick your brain. Say, you do this so well. I'm really trying to learn how to do this better. Is there any, video that you learned from? Is there any tip? I would appreciate so much. You're the best. Almost everyone would say yes and help you because you're a fan of theirs, therefore they'll probably become a fan of yours. So with those 5 things, whatever they are, I want you to be really, really realistic. What bugs the you-know-what out of you? Is it that you can't figure out your iPad? Is it that you don't know how to work your laptop? Seriously, there are people that are, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just you haven't had the time to do it. All right, so with those 5 things, you've got to find a way to educate yourself, and whether that's someone else helping you, looking at a video. By the way, there's videos on almost everything. And you just got to put yourself in the seat and buckle up and just be patient and watch it. Make all the notes you can, pause it if you want, and go on your phone and try to do exactly what they're doing so you can make it really interactive. But almost all of that kind of stuff I have either learned myself through asking, Googling, or getting help. Most help I get is free. Some help I have to pay for. But you're not looking for the paid-for help yet. You're just looking for kind people, because I guarantee there's something you do that they would love to know how you do it. All right. So moving on, this is the last of it. This is the big meat. So here are the 3 tips that every business owner needs to know and that will help them with their business. Number 1, entrepreneurs and business owners love responsibility. They embrace it. They're hungry for it. People that hate responsibility, you got to ask yourself, do I really like what I do? Am I really supposed to be doing this? Because entrepreneurs are hungry to grow. They want more, and they want to prove themselves. So there are quite a few coaches that, like, every once in a while, like, I'm like, dude, I need help. I can't be on the Monday night call. We have this going on or whatever. We're out of town. We're on a flight. There are some coaches I could text, and they would be like, yes. Oh, my gosh. And many of them are on this call right now. But they would be like, oh, my gosh, yes. And it may scare the you-know-what out of them, but they won't say no, because they know if they say no, they're going to miss an opportunity. Not an opportunity to have other people hear them and see how cool they are, an opportunity to grow. Remember, you grow when you're uncomfortable. So that uncomfortableness of talking on a call, especially when you hate talking in front of people, that's what makes you grow. So an entrepreneur embraces and is hungry for responsibility. If you're not, think about that. Or if you're like, I'm not really sure, then let me finish this tip with that. If entrepreneurs want responsibility, they're hungry for it, even when it scares them and they really don't want to do it, they do it anyway because they know it's going to make them better. And I promise, no one's ever gone, I hated doing your team call. Can't believe you had me do that. I will never do that again. They're always like, oh, my gosh, I'm so glad I did it. Or they'll go, okay, kind of sucked. I kind of messed up the video, but it was really good. And people always text me, that was really cool. And even though they may have said nothing different, it's just hearing it from someone else's voice. But as far as your business is concerned with responsibility, ask yourself this. Who or what, business-wise, am I responsible for? And what am I actively doing weekly and daily to help them or to help those things? Let me say that again. If entrepreneurs are embracing responsibility and they love it, then you have to ask yourself, who or what, business-wise, am I responsible for, and what am I doing daily and weekly to help with these things? So think about that. I'm not going to go through a bunch of examples, but just think, okay, if I'm responsible for these coaches, and by the way, you're responsible to help them and guide them. You're not responsible for their success. They are. But if you're responsible to help them and guide them, that you need to make stuff for them to guide them or point them to where it is in the back office or someone else's coach's page or my coach's page or anything that anyone else has done that's helped you. Amber Blanche, by the way, posted these things that she gave her coaches to do daily. It's a great place to start. I thought they were great. I wrote these are so good. But people need to know what to do every day. Y'all, she posted them to give them to you. Take them, edit them, make them different colors or something and give them to your coaches. But that's a resource. That's something business-wise you're responsible. Help them get started. Now, what they do after you give them the basics is up to them. But also ask yourself, what do I do right now that I can do with my eyes closed, but that this would blow someone else's mind to have this knowledge? That's called a system. You've got to systematize all of your business so that it's out there and it's there for everyone. And all systematize means is if you do X, Y, Z every day and you do it without even thinking, that's brand new for a new coach. They don't know to do X, Y, and Z. So you make a write-up system saying, hi, you do blah at this time because it does this, then you do blah, and that's it. It's a system. It's something that can repeat. You can duplicate it, and you can give it to anyone, and they'll understand it. So who or what are you responsible to, and what are you doing daily or weekly to help them? Entrepreneurs love responsibility. Number 2, you will never get where you want or what you want without sacrifice. It is a fact that if you ask anybody in this business that's had significant success, you will ask them what they sacrificed or if they sacrificed. They'll say not only yes, but probably hell's yes. But what most people think a sacrifice is something sad. Like, oh, you had to give up, blah. I'm talking about stuff that don't matter anyway. But the things that people say they don't have time to do, if they just, quote, unquote, sacrificed what they wanted like now, or what they think they want now to get what they want later, they'll be like, oh, my gosh, I don't miss it anyway. So here's an example. By the way, you all have to have sacrifice. You're going to have to do stuff that's uncomfortable. We already talked about that. You're going to have to go places and do things you don't want to do. You're going to have to get a sitter when you don't want to get a sitter. Get over it. If your future is that important, you're going to have to do that every once in a while. But here's some easy examples of what a sacrifice looks like. You sacrifice TV. Oh, yeah, like you're really missing something. I'm sorry, that's a total soapbox for me. I have not seen anything good on TV in years. I know I sound like I'm 80 years old, but movies, different. If there's like a show you like to watch, that's different. But in just TV in general, it's yuck, it's gross, and it makes me ill. TV is something you can easily sacrifice. Sleep. I know that's a tough one for some of us, but I did not go to bed early or get up late for years. It was either one or the other. I was either going to go to bed late and Lee would let me sleep in a little, or vice versa. It would all depend. And half the time when he worked, there was no choice. I just stayed up late, got up early. But you sacrifice that because you know it's going to get you where you want to go, but it's also going to give you the peace of mind that you didn't leave any loose ends for that night. All right, let's talk about a few more. Shopping. There's so much stuff we don't flip and need. Let's be honest. We can save that money. We can use that money for training, or just flip and save it and move forward. Food. We don't need to eat that much. Ego. Okay, this one's huge. This one's really hard, especially for some of us type A people. Just like the whole call thing about people get offended that no one's on the call. Well, you should be happy that those people that are on the call are on the call, because that's who you're speaking to. So ego has to just go out the door. No matter what, if people don't know that you're a so-and-so coach, or don't know what you've done, or don't know how fabulous we are, get over it. They don't have to know. They don't need to know. They just need to know that you're nice and that you could be a help to them, a friend to them, a resource. So you are sacrificing examples of TV, food, shopping, ego, the offendedness. People are so easily offended. Only really selfish people are easily offended. Let me just put it out there, and I'm sure that's no one on this call. But when people get offended, it's because they think so highly of themselves, they just figured out that someone else doesn't think as highly of them as themselves do. And I mean, like, come on. It's no fun to be, like, I am pretty much unoffendable. I mean, Rindy may say the contrary because I talk to her very often, every once in a while, but, like, I'm pretty much unoffendable. I'm undefendable. I mean, like, really, you got to be there. It's such a fun place to live, because then it's just, okay, cool, well, then let's start from ground zero. I don't have to tell you anything. I'm just going to show you what I know now. You don't have to know the proof of what we've already done. I'm just going to tell you now. But being undefendable, seriously, it's one of the best places to live. And if you can say unoffendable 10 times, I will send you money. All right. What systems can you make for your team? So you have to sacrifice time, and you got to flip and focus to make systems for your team. You can sacrifice that time to do that. You can sacrifice not getting anything back from your work. And what I mean is by just being kind, just helping someone else, just genuinely saying, well, this is what I do. I don't know if it'll work for you, but here's what I do. You know, take it or leave it. And don't expect them to come back and be a coach or sign up with a challenge pack or thank you in some fantabulous flower bouquet to your house. Of all the coaches that we've helped, as much as it irritated me because I want them to go their upline, I don't like step on toes, it's always come back to us one way or the other in a very positive way. All the other people that I've helped and never got anything for it, I'm telling you, it always comes. It's like you plant a seed here, but it blooms over there. So can you just sacrifice not getting what you think you deserve from that help that you gave? Because I promise it'll always come back around. And then the last thing about sacrifice, I'm sure you could think of a lot more because, you know, your life is, of course, different than ours, but can you sacrifice, you know, just your ego long enough so that you can help enough people to take it to the next level? Like no one needs to know anything other than you care about them and they can help you. So there's many other things you can sacrifice. I'm happy to tell you all the other things we sacrificed, and it has gotten us where we want. I mean, we've sacrificed, you know, doing things together many times. We always had one of the parents with the kids, but sometimes it's just Lee, and sometimes it was just me. Because I'm like, if I can do this now, that's what this is going to equal. And it's just a fact. You've got to sacrifice in order to reach your goals. So if you're not willing to sacrifice, or if your coaches aren't willing to sacrifice, the only question you can really ask them is, you know, you can say, number one, I care about you, but number two, how badly do you want it? Because if it's worth it, you know you would sacrifice anything if it's worth it. And I'm not just talking about business, whatever, you know, that it is. All right, and then number 3, last one. Daily goals and tasks need to be made every day. They need to be written every day. And they need to be done every night before you go to bed, regardless of the outcome. Let me say that again. Every day you need to have goals and tasks written down, and they need to be finished before you go to bed, regardless of the outcome. So some of the daily tasks is exactly what we do in the Fast Track group: boring, monotonous, tedious, like I want to quit, but you don't type of things. The number of people you talk to every day, that's one of the tasks that is one of the most value-producing activities is people. People have money. Money's what grows your business. If people are loyal, if people are your lifers, if people fall in love, it will be endless. It's residual, and it's what you want. You want to help people to the point where they just get it. You don't have to explain anything anymore. The number of helpful and value-driven posts that you post every day, that's up to you. That's part of your daily tasks. You can have a goal of doing 3 of those a day, and you can make those happen every day no matter what. The same with the number of people you talk to. And then number 3, which is the third one of number 3, by the way, your willingness and openness to talk to people without asking or expecting anything back. It's kind of like what we talked about in the sacrifice one, the number 2. But number 3, you just got to be willing to talk to people and be nice. Like, just be like, oh, no, it's totally cool. I get it. Talk about, being a parent. Talk about how you failed algebra in college. I mean, I don't know, whatever it is, but find a way to connect. And by the way, Bo Eason calls that the bounce back. I've talked about this before. But it's a difference in having a conversation with someone that basically looks at themselves in the mirror behind you the whole time and never once even connects with you, and the other person that's like, oh, my gosh, college algebra, I died. Did you? Oh, my gosh, me too. It's called the bounce back. It's because you're telling your story, but somehow you're bouncing it back to other people so they connect. But what's funny, they don't see your story. They see their lives as you're telling the story. And that's a skill that anyone can develop, but once you get that, you have connected with someone. You have a conversation. You have something that you both agree on, and it can be simply algebra. But then they're eventually going to find out that you do this fitness thing, and they're eventually going to go, okay, now what is this thing you do? Now what is this fitness thing? Because it's happened to me over and over again, and it will happen to you. But we have to have the goals just to talk to people. And it can be really nice, but most people don't want unsolicited, like fitness advice. They're just asking questions. And I promise, talking about other things first is almost always better than going right into the challenge group, unless, that was the reason they contacted you in the first place. All right. So I talked about how the Fast Track was just, a great group. That's what we do. And when I say focusing on the task and the goal rather than the outcome, that is one of the best things you can just adopt in your mind. Just go through the motions of talking to these people. You want to be fully in it, but don't sit there and wait on their response, because that's when the anxiety comes. That's then what will keep you from sending the next message to the next person, because you're so afraid of what that other person is going to say. Don't care about what they're going to say. You do your job, and then just wait to see what happens. You keep doing your best. Eventually, it's all going to add up, no matter what those 1 or 2, 3 or 4 or 5 people said. All right. And then the last thing I just want to say, this is pretty much it. Your goal every week should be to get no's. And I know sometimes some people just don't respond. I mean, Michelle Myers calls it being constant through the crickets, which, by the way, I have so many names that I go back and try to find them on Facebook just to check and see what they're doing, because they still haven't answered me on my Facebook message. And I've sent them at least 3, because it's the whole follow-up system that I made, Hey, just make sure you got my post. Hey, I don't want to bother you, but, you know what I mean? It's like I keep thinking, maybe they're going to look. Sometimes they've looked and just haven't answered. Sometimes they haven't even looked. And I'm like, darn it. We can tell on Facebook when someone's looked and not. Point is, you have to be consistent through the crickets. You have to weekly try to get a no, if not multiple no's. And then here's the biggest key to success. All right, you got to listen to this. I'm stopping at this point. The key to success, let me put it this way, the key to massive success, the key to amazing success is massive failure. If you're not failing, you're not working. Listen one more time. The key to success is massive failure. If you're not failing, you're not working. So use those little no's and the little failures and what you didn't get as proof that you're doing something. Like, I would rather have no's and missed opportunities, missed goals because of people saying no than me just not trying. You know what I mean? It would be too easy for me to go, well, I didn't even try, so what am I expecting? I can't. That's the wimpy way out. I have to at least try. And you won't believe what comes from doing that every day. It's just a habit. You just do it without even thinking about all the people that probably think you're dumb, or they're like, I'm so tired of hearing from her. I really don't care. I have a purpose and I have a goal, and it may involve them or it doesn't, but it's going to involve someone, and I'm going to keep asking until I find that. All right, you guys, that's it. I hope that this will help you take those next steps into completely being uncomfortable, that those 5 things that you wrote down, that you will share on the post. And if it's too personal, of course you don't have to, but on the post that we put up today for this call, I want you to share your 5 or 5 of the things. Like I have really probably 50, but 5 of the things that if you could just get a little bit better at, you would decrease your frustration and you would speed up your particular pace. So write those down, and let's see if we can find not only people that can help you, but we can do calls on those things too with legitimate, specific takeaways. But remember, you want to be uncomfortable, and you want to embrace responsibility even though it sucks. Do it. If someone asks you to talk on a call, do it. If someone asks you to do something that makes you uncomfortable, please do it. You will only grow, and you'll get really used to that, and then just save all of your notes. Save everything that you read, because that is going to be your next team calls, your next post. It's all so important that it's written down, because that, I promise, you will retain it more, and you will start to use it, and you won't feel as frustrated. I promise. All right, guys, thank you so much for being on the call. This is recorded, so if anyone missed it, they're like, dang it, I missed it. It's going to be recorded, so we'll have it up tomorrow. Thank you, guys. Bye.